Welcome to a special video edition of RIMScast, brought to you by RIMS, the Risk and Insurance Management Society. I am Justin Smollison, Business Content Manager here at RIMS and your proud RIMScast host. We've got a special episode for you today. It is a bit of a best of RIMScast in April, as we look back on interviews with Kiersten Cash and Joshua Gold, two speakers who will be presenting sessions at RISKWORLD 2026, which is being held May 3rd through the 6th in Philadelphia. This is a last call for registration. Visit rims.org/riskworld. Now, to set up the show, Kiersten Cash is with the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and she is going to give us a preview of her session, which is about medical marijuana and workers' compensation claims. And after the break, Joshua Gold will join us. He is a shareholder at the law firm Anderson Kill, and he will present a session on marine risk alongside former RIMS president Lance Ewing. These are two timely and vastly different topics, and they exemplify the range of educational offerings attendees will experience at RISKWORLD. And during the break, we will be joined by RIMS Chief Commercial Officer Stuart Ruff-Lyon to fill us in on all the wonderful happenings at RISKWORLD and other RIMS events. So we're going to kick things off with a segment from Kiersten Cash's recent interview. For the full episode, visit rims.org/cash. Let's hop over to the video and have some fun here on RIMScast.
I think that if medical marijuana were to become a treatment option, that is something that I would really need to sit down with my pain management specialist or physician to talk about, so that it is something that is monitored, something that is regulated, something that may have an end date, or what are we ultimately doing?
Yeah.
The goal is to not put an employee on medical marijuana and just say, keep renewing the card, and they're just out there
Right.
collecting marijuana.
As much as they might like to do that, we don't want that. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. There has to be a treatment plan. There has to be a target date, which is, pretty much the bread and butter of what a workers' compensation claim is. Our goal is to always get the person either back to work or get them back to their baseline so that they can function in society as a human being.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to something like prescription opioids, does the conversation get much more complex? Is that something that you handle also?
Again, I haven't had any opioid claims, thank God.
Good.
But in my experience, I've definitely seen situations where opioids have been out of control. Back in my adjuster days, there were times where we would propose detox programs for employees who were addicted to opioids. And it would start out with something as simple as a back surgery.
Right.
And, they're still in pain. And instead of addressing the cause of the pain, they would get opioids. And then they would end up getting addicted to said opioids, to the point where weaning off of the opioids was not an option. So when we're talking about medicinal marijuana, could we have that same effect, or could the marijuana have that same effect? That's the one thing that we are not sure of right now.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because, what you just said is the starting point for the bigger conversation about opioids. And we're not really going to talk about that too much, but back surgery, your spine it's got all those nerves going in and out of it. That's why people are never going to feel completely whole too quickly, and they need something stronger. But then, like you're saying, weaning off of it is so difficult. And ultimately it leads to those huge nuclear verdicts and settlements, right? That are being litigated still. Some of them are still being litigated. There's something called the opioid settlement tracker that's tracking billions of dollars right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And another thing you got to also factor in, which is not always talked about, the socioeconomic factor of the claim. So you can't just take an employee and says, oh, this person has back surgery. This is going to be a situation where they're going to be addicted to medical marijuana. They're going to get addicted to opioids. There are people that I've seen in my career, like I've been around for 20 years, if it's a person that's like active, loves life, happened to get hurt and needs this surgery, the motivation of the employee, that's why these are always case by case. The motivation of the employee, the socioeconomic status of the employee's, need for wanting to get back to normal, that's always going to play a factor into whether or not this becomes an issue or is just something that they have to do because they have the surgery and they're going to move on. I have had plenty of employees who've had surgeries. They'll use their little opioid for the 3 to 5 days. And then they're just like, what can I have instead? I don't like this medication.
Yep.
So that's something else that we should also take into account when we're having this conversation.
Excellent. Let's quickly pivot. I know everybody hates that word ever since COVID, but let's pivot over to laws.
Okay.
I'm sure. Boo! We got to talk about laws. There's a growing patchwork of state laws on cannabis. What's an emerging trend that you believe risk managers should be paying close attention to right now?
Whew, an emerging trend. I actually think regulation and reimbursement costs, along with duration of how long the payment would be required for the medicinal marijuana, if it's something that is approved. I think the other thing that we definitely have to take into account, how long can the prescribing doctor give the medical marijuana, but on top of that, are they prescribing it for the accepted work accident, or is it due to whatever other chronic condition that's pre-existing that they're claiming was aggravated by the work injury?
Got it. Okay. Turquoise. I'm going to take a quick break. Okay. So
Okay.
now I'm going to do you're doing great, by the way. You're doing great.
Okay.
So I'm going to do the thing where I say, all right, we're back from commercial. So,
Right.
yeah. So, all right, here we go. So we're going to come back from the first commercial. You ready?
Okay.
All right. And we are back with Kiersten Cash, who on May 6th will be delivering the session at 10:15 in room BC 120. Reefer Madness, still in the weeds with medical marijuana and workers' compensation. Now, Kiersten, you will be co-presenting, right?
Yes.
Who's your co-presenter?
Frank Wickersham for Marshall Dennehy.
Okay.
He is a workers' comp defense attorney.
All right. And you get along well with him? You're going to be...
Absolutely. I've known Frank for years.
Yeah. Okay, great. And your session, is it going to be the sort of thing where you have a presentation, you leave time at the end for Q&A?
Yes.
Good. You like the Q&A? You like the audience participation?
I like the audience participation. It makes me feel like I did my job.
That's, I got a similar answer from someone else recently, and I would be shocked if your answer was, no, I don't want to do Q&A. I don't want to hear from anybody. You seem like a very outgoing type of person.
Try to be.
Yeah, no, you certainly seem that way. So we're talking about cannabis treatment. Let's ask the big question. Here's the big question. I don't want you to give away the store because I know this is sort of the essence of your session. But why is employer obligation when it comes to paying for cannabis treatment such a legally and operationally complex issue? I definitely didn't script that question. I just came up with it.
Okay. Why is it a complex issue? Because why is the employer, should we ever have to pay for marijuana?
Right. That is the question.
That's the question.
You're answering the question with a question.
Yes.
Yes, I see what you're doing. And because in your case, you're trying to protect CHOP or whomever you might be employed by.
Correct.
And so you really have to weigh the pros and cons of that treatment.
But it's bigger than that.
Bigger than that.
And the reason it's bigger than that is because if we, as an employer, start paying for medicinal marijuana for employee A, B, and C, and A, B, and C have their departments, and then they talk to their friends about, oh, I got a medical card, and I had a work injury, and you know that because my doctor said it's work-related, CHOP is now paying for my medicinal marijuana. This is all you have to do to get it. It can become a bigger issue than anything that we would ever want to imagine. So I think the biggest thing is, controlling what we will pay for, what we won't pay for, if we have to pay for anything at all, and how do we keep it contained so that people who are not necessarily hurt but just want free medicinal marijuana do not become an issue for the workers' comp program as well.
Gotcha. Right, I am joined by my friend Stuart Ruff-Lyon. He is the Chief Commercial Officer here at RIMS, and he is Mr. RISKWORLD. How are you there, Stuart?
Doing well. Thank you, Justin. Excited for RISKWORLD.
We all are. It's an exciting time to be here at RIMS. We celebrated our 75th anniversary last year, and this year we're going to be hosting RISKWORLD in Philadelphia during America's 250th birthday celebration in the city of brotherly love. What could be better?
Exactly, right. Lots of activity going on in Philadelphia in 26 with the FIFA games, the 250th anniversary of the United States. So much activity happening in Philly. It's going to be an exciting destination for us.
Excellent. Now, we haven't been there since 2017. Is that right?
That's right.
Yes. So what's going to be different at this year's RISKWORLD just from last year?
Just from last year. We have a lot of new initiatives this year. We have some new education tracks that are taking place, Risk and Conversation, for example. We have new conversation pods that are exciting for the marketplace forward. Attendees and exhibitors have private one-to-one meetings that's sponsored by Cedric. We're really grateful for that. We have a great opening party planned this year. It's a hybrid event, half outdoor, half indoor. Fingers crossed for good weather. It's pretty chic. And then, just lots of new, and I don't want to give too much away, lots of different kind of enhancements and experiences throughout the show, and different things I think people will enjoy in the convention center and just being part of RISKWORLD.
Excellent. Now, we have a wonderful lineup of speakers and keynotes at RISKWORLD. Do you want to take us through each one real quick?
Yeah, I'll take it as fast as I can. Yeah, so we're opening with Adam Grant, who is an organizational psychologist, a brilliant professor from the University of Pennsylvania, author of several books, massive following on LinkedIn.
Yes.
He's going to challenge the way we think and challenge our assumptions. I think it's really good for the risk professional audience to hear that conversation and be a part of it. It's really something that everybody can get something out of, I think. And then, of course, on Tuesday, we have more of our industry day with Chubb and Liberty Mutual leading the way on different conversations about the state of the industry for risk.
And so on May 6th, to close us out, we have one of America's sweethearts on main stage, Michael Strahan. Tell us, what can we look forward to there?
I think it's going to be an exciting conversation we have with Michael Strahan on stage. Unbeknownst to many people, he owns many businesses. He knows a thing or two about business risk and risk management with his own portfolio that he has. Obviously, like you said, America's sweetheart to some degree, right? Good Morning America and his other projects. So we're excited to hear him. I'm excited to see him. I think it's going to bring a nice close to RISKWORLD Philadelphia.
So as we know, we always encourage our members and the public to register in advance at rims.org/riskworld, but we have on-site registration capabilities, right, Stuart?
That's right. You can sign up on site. Registration opens on Sunday, May 3rd at 10 a.m. in the convention center. And just a reminder that everyone who accesses any space at the convention center must be registered and badged with the official RISKWORLD badge to access any point. It's for safety and security reasons.
Very good. So I look forward to seeing you there. You're going to be running around doing all kinds of stuff.
Running around, the man behind the curtain, right?
That's exactly right. And Stuart, it's time for a little humble brag with my friend Stuart Ruff-Lyon. You have a speaking engagement coming up. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'm really pleased to mention this. RISKWORLD 2025 is being honored by Trade Show Executive. It's one of the fastest 50 growing shows in America. So very exciting kind of recognition for us. And the morning of that program, I'll be speaking on a panel with some really big industry bigwigs from more corporate side of things. I'm the Loan Association wolf there about the risks that you take on events and event experience design and what's gone right and what's gone wrong. Because as we know, we do, I think RISKWORLD is really good about taking some innovative event experiences. And sometimes they go well and sometimes they don't, right? So really transparent conversation about what we've tried and what we're going to try in the future.
So that's the TSE Fastest 50 Summit in Baltimore on April 23rd, correct?
That's right.
All right, great. And we've got Stuart. In 2025, RIMS launched The Foundation. It's the Foundation for Risk Management. Now, this is different than our friends at Spencer Educational Foundation, who we love. And anybody who's interested can go to rims.org/FRM. But I would love it if you would tell us a little bit about the foundation and the presence it's going to have at RISKWORLD 2026.
Sure. Really excited about the foundation this year. So, we're launching a lot of new initiatives. Basically, one of the things we're really highlighting are rising risk professionals, scholarships for them to attend more events and professional development opportunities, even like the RIMScrmp. Also, looking into research projects, chief risk officer kind of summit kind of things potentially in the future, and new tools for risk managers to propel us into the future of risk management. So, it's really exciting kind of stuff, I think. Whereas Spencer's focused on students, we're focused more on all the adults and
Yeah. The folks who are going to carry the torch into the next generation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so the presence at RISKWORLD, we're going to have some events, right?
A couple that are really exciting, actually. We're going to have a silent auction. Actually opens on April 24th before RISKWorld, but it will close on May 6th at 5 p.m. that day. So you really want to make sure you're bidding through RISKWorld. I'll tell you, there are some great prizes. I can't really confirm whether or not this is true, but I've heard there's a really wicked Ariana Grande package to be involved here. So lots of good things. In addition to that, on Tuesday, May 5th of the show, we'll have our after party. It starts at 9 p.m. at one of Philadelphia's hottest nightclubs, Nodo. And the packed dance floor, great food, open bar. It's really, I think it's the best party we do at RISKWorld. Frankly, I love it. It's smaller, more intimate. People really network a lot there. And the fee for that is $149. And you can buy that during registration or go back to the attendee service center after you register to purchase the ticket.
Excellent. So that'll be Tuesday, May 5th at Nodo.
Nodo.
Nodo. All right.
NOTO.
N-O-T. Oh, N-O-T-O.
Yeah.
It's Noto. I
Yeah.
thought Nodo meant no doubt. All right. And Stuart, looking ahead to October 18th through the 21st, we've got the 50th RIMS Canada Conference. How stoked are you?
I'm very excited for it. Quebec City is a fantastic, perfect destination for this conference. If you haven't been before, you will love it. You will enjoy it. Beautiful city, great people, great food scene. And we're having a very special opening party to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the RIMS Canada Conference. So definitely want to miss that. It's going to be something to experience.
I just hope that my invitation doesn't get lost in the mail this year. And
Ah.
it's going to be great. I love being at the RIMS Canada Conference. I feel like it grows a little bit more every single year. Is that accurate?
It is accurate. It's been growing consistently over the past few years. We're expecting more than 1,500 total attendance in Quebec City. And yeah, looking forward to future growth of that event as well. It's one of my favorite events too. It really brings together a smaller community of our Canadian professionals who can really focus on Canadian related issues, advocacy issues, Canadian specific risk management things. So it's a great event.
Excellent. And registration has not opened yet, but my understanding is that the call for submissions for educational sessions is now open through May 8th. Is that right?
That's right. It's currently open right now, trying to accept those submissions. We want top-notch education, of course, for the RIMS Canada Conference, innovative and audience interactive kind of things that are really engaging with audience and not just, talking heads is really what we're looking for.
Where that link is up there right now. It's rimscanadaconference.ca. Oh my goodness, there it is. And Stuart, it's always great to see you. We're going to have you back on when we know a little bit more about RIMS Canada Conference 2026. All right. Sure, that might make its way into the dialogue. We got to talk about what your session is all about. On May 5th at RISKWorld, it's going to be called Do Not Let Your Cargo Claim Go Down with the Ship, Tips to Improve Marine Insurance Protection. You're going to be presenting with former RIMS President Lance Ewing. So you've got the risk management perspective, you got the legal perspective, and let's just cue the audience in. You clearly submitted this session months and months ago, probably in 2025, that's my guess. And the conflict with Iran has just occurred just a couple of weeks ago, just started. So you clearly had your finger on the pulse of what could be happening in the world.
Yeah, no, there's no question. And let me say at the outset, I'm in the fortunate and rarefied position of doing both the newest thing in insurance and law, which is cyber, and then also doing the oldest thing in insurance and law, which happens to be marine, which hails back to Lloyd's coffee shop in London a few centuries ago. So yeah, I get to cover the spectrum, and I seem to be on either point of the spectrum in terms of most of my day-to-day focus. As much as I love cyber, I absolutely am intrigued with maritime insurance, maritime law.
Yeah.
Very esoteric. It's very old, and it has special rules that if you don't deal with this type of insurance and this type of law on a regular basis, it can escape you. It can be challenging, and it could also be a trap for the unwary, especially on the policyholder side, since the insurance companies are typically very well versed in the lay of the land and the insurance rules and doctrines. I would say most policyholders, much less so. So you do have that information imbalance. And one of the things we always look forward to is educating risk managers
Sure.
about this area. It's, again, so detailed, it's so different, and it is definitely, some might say, antiquated, or some other words for it, but let's just say it's a challenging area. And we couldn't have a better example of that with recent current events. So yes, Justin, I did submit the RIMS proposal last year before the hostilities got fully going in the past few weeks in the Middle East. I will say that as dangerous and harrowing as the situation exists right now in certain shipping lines and energy channels, we've seen examples of this in more recent times with drought conditions affecting the Panama Canal and those shipping lanes, right?
Yeah.
And we saw the Suez Canal freighter mishap where, the Suez Canal was shut down for some time while a full-on international engineering effort was launched to free that freighter, free up those shipping lanes in the Suez Canal. So we've had certainly some more recent examples of what disruptions look like. Obviously, the one we're dealing with presently, with a war that seems to be escalating at the moment, is going to present real challenges for both shippers and, of course, energy markets. And we're all watching that in real time.
Right. So you and Lance are maybe adding or revising certain elements of your presentation to reflect what's happening currently.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain fundamental points. We don't want to turn this into a solely social current event
Right.
discussion. We do want to be able to educate policyholders with principles that apply
Yeah.
for whether or not you're dealing with the Suez Canal situation, an Iranian conflict situation, or alternatively, you're just dealing with, modern day pirates who have stolen oil in, open water, or you've had thieves break into your warehouse stealing, high value merchandise. So we will certainly touch upon and emphasize certain points that I think are obviously highly relevant now with, detours, delays in shipping, downstream risk, obviously risk to certain types of cargo and the like. There's, all kinds of cancellations that are going on right now for certain war risk coverage and other marine insurance products. But, again, usually we're resilient people. We come through these events, but there can, of course, be a real aftermath, and we're not quite sure where we are as of this recording. And we'll, certainly know more come RISKWORLD in Philadelphia in May. But right now, we can only brace for the worst. And right now, we're looking to educate policyholders on all of these issues, including ones that'll be, front burner given the hostilities now.
Well, let's keep the education going. What makes marine insurance claims so unique compared with standard property or casualty claims?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, a few things that are different about marine insurance is sometimes the policy language is itself uh, kind of cloaked in words of antiquity. Sometimes you'll see a marine policy that looks like your standard property all risk policy, and sometimes you'll see ones that talk about assailing thieves and barbatry of the master and all kinds of other, 17th century nautical terms and piracy terms. So
Swashbucklers.
lots of swashbucklers on the open seas, and we now have the modern day versions of them. But it's, again, just important to make sure you understand both the rights, protections, but also some of the obligations and the contingencies under insurance. I'll throw out just a taste of one right now, which is most marine insurance policies will have a 1-year provision that the insurance company will argue says if there's any fight over payment of the claim, the amount of the payment, the timing of the payment, that all has to be brought in a lawsuit commenced within 12 months of the loss event. And I'm sure for people that have never had to go through a complicated claim, I got a full year. That's plenty of time. In the real world of claims adjustments, sometimes it's frustrating for policyholders, understandably, but these claims can take months and sometimes even years for resolution. And sometimes they don't get resolved without some level of coverage litigation, sadly, or perhaps some alternative dispute mechanism. So again, just one of the areas where most policyholders are not accustomed to seeing a 1-year kind of contractually based statute of limitations to bring a fight, but you don't want to be in a position where the insurance company is going to argue you may have forfeited your coverage rights, even if the claim was ultimately deemed covered if you didn't act in a certain amount of time. So that's one example where policyholders accustomed to dealing with CGL policies or D&O policies or cyber policies may not ever get into that realm, because fortunately for them, they've never had that problem before. But it's a point of just being educated, knowing what the lay of the land is for policyholders in this arena when they're insuring goods, not only over open water, but in warehouses, on docks, on wharves, right? Even sometimes inland trucking, as we've seen from a Supreme Court case some years ago, can fall under a situation where it's governed by maritime federal law.
Right. So transport, unloading, and even warehousing might be under that umbrella. Special thanks again to Kiersten J. Cash and Joshua Gold for joining us here again on RIMScast. Join Kiersten on May 6th at 10:15 a.m. in room 120BC for her session, Reefer Madness, still in the weeds with medical marijuana and workers' compensation. And on May 5th from 3:30 to 4 p.m., join us at the global stage for Joshua Gold's co-presentation alongside former RIMS President Lance Ewing, Do Not Let Your Cargo Claim Go Down with the Ship, Tips to Improve Marine Insurance Protection. These are just two of the more than 125 educational sessions that we will be hosting at RISKWORLD in Philadelphia, May 3rd through the 6th. Stuart, Ruff-Lyon, and I cannot stress enough how much we want to see you at RISKWORLD. This is the last call for registration, so visit us at rims.org/RISKWORLD and register today to connect, cultivate, and collaborate with 10,000 of your risk management peers. Thank you again for tuning into this special edition of RIMScast. You can subscribe to RIMScast on all podcasting apps and visit our new RIMS official channel on YouTube. That's youtube.com/RIMS official channel. We update with more video content there every single week. From all of us here at RIMS, the Risk and Insurance Management Society, thank you for your continued support.